just to be clear, it's the shadow came up and ate the country. You know, I just did a seminar yesterday, or a day-long retreat in Santa Barbara yesterday, on being abducted into the underworld by the Dark Lord. It's the Persephone myth in Greece, you know, where Hades comes out of the earth and seizes the maidens playing in the meadow and having a good time being American, you know, chasing flowers, you know, playing with her friends, and they're all kind of innocent in this chariot. The earth gapes, and boom, she gets taken into the underworld. And so, thinking mythically about what's happened is not an awful thing. It's good because it gives us a myth, and we can locate ourselves and think, oh, there's something truly shocking about being abducted into the underworld. You know, if you're shocked, and if you're not shocked, that's fine. Something else will shock you anyway. But being abducted and taken into the underworld, and I suppose there's that quality of not just an attack on minorities, but on multiplicity of views. You know, like that one of the good things about Zen for me is that you don't have to have a particular way of looking or thinking about things, you know? It's okay to think differently or to be different. And in fact, we're enriched by that rather than deprived by that. So that's a big thing. And but most of us have some experience of prejudice and people wanting a very narrow, single vision. You know, I remember years ago when I was during the AIDS epidemic. I thought, oh, what can I do? And I thought, well, one of the things I could do is try and keep the people sane who were looking after people who were dying. You know, so I went out to the AIDS organization and said, well, you know, can I help? I could hold a group for you, or things like that. And so I got a couple of friends, and we would deal with the staff who were, you know, in grief all the time, and some of them were dying too. You know, so. And I remember this very touching story that I moved to tell about the problem with the singleness of vision that people get into if you don't have a generous view of how we should be. Was that he was very old. He was then seemed to me old, and I was like 40 or something. But so I don't know. He was probably younger than me now. But he'd come from Nebraska, and he'd just been picked up. The police just picked up. You know, they just read that he was gay, and so they picked him up, beat him up, put him in the car, and drove him to the border of the next state, and threw him out of the car and said, "Don't come back." You know, and I thought, oh yeah, that's kind of. I'll bet that happened in Australia when I was a kid too. You know, that's the kind of not quite next state necessarily, but that kind of thing, that it was just dangerous to be different. You know, and so I think. But then there's always been places where it's safe to be different, and it's good to be different, and we're trying to keep California that way. So, you know, we're for it, you know, and we're for being, you know, whatever it is, Asian, Mexican, whatever it is, and I do hear stories like I know a guy, I kind of like, who's Scottish, who's leaving America, he's going back to Scotland. Can't bear it. And I keep hearing stories of Mexican people going back, you know, before they get deported, that kind of thing, you know. And I think there's a kind of loss in that. And I think it's good to think, well, if we're in it, we're goddamn well in it, and let's be in it, and let's have it, and let's, you know.